Everything you're about to see will be demonstrated by the Market Deeping Model Railway Club at the National Festival of Railway Modelling, Peterborough Showground on December 7th and 8th, 2019. Visit modelrailwayshows.co.uk for more information. Hello and welcome to this special episode of BRM TV. You join us in the studio with three members from Market Deeping's Model Railway Club, and we've got a bit of a special thing in store for you. Many of you are looking to build your first train set or model railway, but you're not quite sure how to get the fundamentals and the basics correct. And that's the most important thing when you are building a model railway. So these three chaps here, we've got the two Micks from Market Deeping Club and Bill. They're going to demonstrate the fundamental basics, so from baseboard construction to laying track and ballasting. And a lot of it, I believe, is based on the How to Build Your First Train Set guide, which was published a couple of years ago by us here at BRM, and I believe is still available from our online web store. So take a look at it if you'd like to get more information. Well, take it away, Bill. I think you're going to demonstrate the construction of a baseboard.
Yes, the first one that we've done in two style, this is one that we made earlier. A fairly simple board, plywood top, the four sides from 3x1, legs. Now we've made this in a format that you can easily take it to bits. You can make it whatever width that you want as well. This at the moment is 1.2 by 600 or 4 foot by 2 foot. The board construction itself is very, very easy, and anyone with the slightest skills can move this forward. Now, at this point, there are various baseboards that you can buy online and at various exhibitions. And these are purpose-made, and some of these are absolutely brilliant. But if you want to have a go at doing something yourself, this is quite easy. And as we said, you can make it whatever size that you require. So we'll start just by assembling this. What we have is a piece of birch ply. Now we've used 6mm birch ply. You can get a cheaper ply, but we feel that paying a bit extra for the birch ply, you get the quality. The side rails and long rails, they are from 3x1 or 69 by 18 millimetre timber, just plain softwood. You can buy all of this at most timber merchants or builders merchants, do-it-yourself stores, and you can even get it pre-cut. This has all been pre-cut to size.
If we can encourage some youngsters and their fathers to get into model railway, so we can show them it is possible, where a lot of them have turned away and said, I can't contemplate doing all that. So if we can get some more people interested in model railways, I think we've done what we needed to do.
We've used 1/2 inch number 8 screws. I will say at this point there is different ways of doing the joints. If you're very good at carpentry, you can do a dovetail joint, you can use dowels, you can use biscuit joints if you've got a biscuit jointer, and sort of a little lap joint. As you can see, these, even though this is pre-drilled, goes together relatively quickly. And there we are, that's the frame made. We'll just put a dab of glue around the sides. We're going to put a screw in each corner and in the centre. And there we are. We then punch the panel pins. I think also a lot of people are a bit embarrassed about starting, not knowing. And we've seen at many a show people come and said, I bought a train set, what do I do? I can't use the dining room table, I can't use the floor because the cat crawls all over it. We've got a spare bedroom, but if anyone comes to stay, I've got to take a layout down. So what we've tried to do today is demonstrate how you can make a simple baseboard that you can take to bits if you need to, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Right, we've finished the baseboard.
Okay.
And through the corners, glued them, do the top down, screwed it and panel pinned it, and we're now fixing the legs. We pre-drilled and we countersunk the screws, so no little fingers can catch the screw heads and cut themselves. The legs we made from 1.25 inch square timber, the frames by 69 by 15. Okay. We made sure that it's square on the vertical here, and what we've done, we put this cross rail so it is supported by the end rail. So that way it gives extra support to it. We have cut some little blocks, and those little blocks will just screw in, just screw into there. And otherwise, if you put a screw in the full length, you'll find that will twist. By doing a pocket drill and drilling through the centre, it makes it quite simple to support.
This is all constructed from what's called PSE, or plain square edge, and that's what you'll need to order when you go down to your local timber merchants. With a few tools you can put together your own baseboard. However, as they said before, if carpentry still isn't your thing, you can go to one of the many advertisers in the magazine and get a baseboard specific to your dimensions ordered. Well, I have to say, Bill, the boards have really come along now. Both are together. So where are we at now?
Right, as I said, we've got the boards together. We've got them reasonably level. We can start to lay in the track. There's one other item you can use actually when you're making these boards. If you're unsure about your floor, you can buy these little leg adjusters. Now, these are available at most model shops. And they're very simple. All you do is screw them onto the bottom of the leg, and then you can adjust up and down to whatever height you want, and you can get a perfectly level baseboard. So they're very, very useful, and they're quite reasonable as well. Next step now is to, as Mick's doing, is to start planning where we're going to place the station buildings and to place the track. You can buy track plans, and there's loads again on the website, but in this instance, for the purpose of the demonstration, we're just going to do a simple lay of cork and the track of where it is at the moment.
I lived in the town of Crewe, which is the railway mecca on the west coast, and I came from a railway family. So in actual fact, it was nothing unusual that father bought a brother and I a model railway when we were about 7 or 8 years of age. Having worked out where the track is going to be and marked it on the board, we're now ready to cover it over the top of it with cork. Cork is used normally to deaden the sound that you get vibration from the wheels of a model railway locomotive. It's not imperative you use it. There are other substances, or you can mount immediately straight onto the board. But we're going to use cork today. We've already laid a piece where the station will sit. We're now going to lay the second one. Underneath on the board are the pencil marks of where we're going to put the points and that. We transfer those to the cork so that we put them back in the same places. The easiest way to lay cork is just put plenty of PVA glue down underneath it. Others are available, but PVA. Secure the corners because they always come back up again, and then just slap large amounts of glue onto the board. Weight it if you can with any type of weight you can find, and leave it for a good 6 hours to dry.
Okay, so the cork is down, it's now dried, which gives a perfect surface on which to lay track. And I know there's a few of you at home there watching this thinking, well, how do I lay track? Well, luckily Mick's here to demonstrate, and he's just lining up a Pico Electrofrog point. This is all code 100 track, and I think it'll be fair to say that Pico is the main, say, aftermarket brand of track, isn't it?
It's what we always use.
Yeah, widely available from your model shop. So Mick, take it away.
Okay, got the point positioned exactly where we need it. We have to drill small holes through the point into the wood.
So these are track pins, aren't
They're
they?
Pico track pins.
So there's many different ways you can lay track. Some prefer to glue it with super glue, but one of the advantages of using these little track pins is the fact that you can reposition your track if it's not perfectly in line afterwards.
Yeah.
And
Yes, don't pin them right down hard now, so that if you do have to remove it to reposition, you can get the pins out easily.
essentially there are two differences between them, and it's basically about this area here. This is called the frog of the point, and it's either insulated electronically, which means that there's no current flowing through it, and your wheels then pick up the current as they continue after the point, or this one here, electrofrog, where it is powered and needs to be wired correctly to the toe of the point, depending on which direction the toe is set.
Right, now we put some rail joiners on. Always the fiddly part, this is.
That is true. There are two different types of rail joiners, aren't there, Mick? Tell us about the difference between these two.
That's a metal nickel-silver one, so that the current will pass through onto the other rail. And this is an insulated one made out of plastic, which you put on with electrofrogs. You must always insulate as you come out the frog.
Yeah.
These are even trickier to put on.
And that's essentially because the frog of the point here, if we were continuing straight ahead, would be one polarity. If we were taking the other track, it would be the other polarity. So you need that ability to change the two polarities. And of course, if it's not insulated from the rest of your track, you can't do that.
Yeah. Now, to join the track onto there, we need to cut away the chairs at the end.
So Mick's just removed the chairs of the sleepers there, which allows you to get the rail joiners just underneath the track there. So that the track
Now, what
can
I
slide.
always do, I move the sleepers up so you haven't got an abnormal
Yep, spacing there.
gap there. Now, let's make sure the track is straight. This is why we use the steel rule, so that we've got the track straight. Now we can... It's no good pinning it on the first sleeper because you've taken the chairs out. So you go to the next one.
So on average, Mick, how often would you pin the track? Every
On a
20?
straight piece, I would probably, about every 10 inches or so.
Yeah.
On a curved piece, 6 inches.
Yeah.
Just because you've got a curve and you need to maintain the curve.
Now these are track pins available from Pico.
Pico,
They
most
are,
model shops.
Yeah, most model shops. You can get slightly fatter ones from Hornby, for instance, but we find that these are quite discreet and
They're blackened, so
Blackened as
they
well.
don't show.
yeah.
Yeah, so on this one, I would probably now put another one round about there, as we're on a straight piece of track.
So on a model railway, just like in reality, we want to get the spacing between two tracks as realistic as possible. And in reality, it's traditionally 6 foot between the two tracks, but on this model, because of allowances for clearance and things like that, we're going to make it a scale 8 foot. Now we know that we're working in a scale of 4 millimetres to 1 foot. Therefore, Mick's made this handy little spacer, which is just 32 millimetres wide and will allow us to get those two tracks at the correct spacing.
I generally cut them away on the turnout rather than the main straight through. If the space is too big between the sleepers, you can always put a
Slide
sleeper in
on. Yeah.
afterwards. Now, when we bend this, we don't want that to fly out. So hold that down hard. Get that? You hold that in there for me.
So Mick was just looking along the length of the rail there just to make sure that there were no sudden kinks or unrealistic curves to the appearance of the track. And you tend to find that one of these points you get a natural curve that comes off it, and it's just nice to continue that all the way through.
And that's where I would leave it for a while now and start working on this end.
Yeah,
Then when I'm satisfied everything's in alignment,
we can
then
start
put
to.
some more pins
yeah.
in.
So there you go. That's how to lay your track against a point. Just let the guys crack on with the rest of it now.
We're now going to solder the feed wires onto the rails. First of all, we just bend a piece of wire over like that. Then we'll we tin it. Dip it in the flux paste, bit of solder. That's that one. Then we've already drilled a hole next to the sleeper. Thread the wire in. We'll just scrape the web of the rail a little and put a little bit of flux on it. Done. It's a bit of a two-man job really, that. And then this wire here will be where the power is fed in down all the track. Put the black wire in on the other side. We're using black and red to for the traction power. There we are, that's okay. That's that done. Right, now we come to ballasting the track. We like to use N-gauge ballasting because it's nice and small. Double O ballasting, which we should really be using, is just far too big. So first of all, using a teaspoon, I find, is the best thing, is to gently put it between the tracks. Like that. Then we use a brush. Brush it in so that it's as level with the sleepers as we can. And then we use a spoon again, and it magically all comes off the top of the sleepers. So now what we have to do is what we call the sides. Now we've got to fix it. First of all, spray it with very dilute water and washing up liquid. That breaks the surface tension so that the mixture of 50% water and 50% PVA glue, when we drop it in, go right to the edges. Leave that overnight now to dry.
I think from a demonstration point of view, I think it'd be meeting people and encouraging people to get involved. And especially for the working at the Peterborough last year, we were involved with the children's section where we helped children make models, and they were very keen. And it was good to see children coming along with the parents, sitting down all together and making something. They can do exactly the same here. They can come along. They can have a go at ballasting the track. They can make the buildings, put the buildings on, and participate as a full family unit.
I was running a layout at Peterborough, so I got the people coming up and saying, "Oh yes, where do I start? And where do you get that from? Who makes that? What gauge should I start on?" And so that was satisfying to be able to answer some of their questions, but this will answer far more of their questions.
I am usually the guy that ends up doing all the ballasting and titivating the track. I do buildings as well, and then I move on to the scenery, trees and grass and things like that.
So day 2, we're back in the studio, and well, the ballast is completely dried overnight.
Yes.
And I'd just like to thank you all for coming in and demonstrating these basic techniques for model railway construction. We're very grateful to have you in the studio for that, so thank you very much. Of course, now comes to the point of fitting the point motor.
That's
so
right.
I'll leave you to it, Mick. Take it away.
We're going to fit the point motor to this point here, and we're going to do it surface mounting. We're using a Gauge Master twin solenoid point motor, but we're using a Pico base. First of all, what we have to do on the point motor is bend these two middle tabs out of the way because they are not used. So the base is now fitted to the point motor, and to prevent it coming away, we have to bend these little tabs over, fit the point motor onto the tab there. Now we check that everything is working right. So position, so the pin is in the middle. Hold the point in the middle like that, and then mark where the holes in the base need to be drilled, and just drill a small starter. Put the screw in the back one first. Don't screw it down tightly yet. Put it on there. Check again that that's fine. Now we can put the screws in the other one. I'll make the holes a little bit bigger. Now I'd already put 3 wires into the connector. These will operate the point motor. The green is the common wire, and the yellow and grey are the 2 operating wires from the switch. What I will do now, because we want them to go under the baseboard, we will drill a hole and thread them through. Don't pull them too tight, So if the connections break in there, there's a little bit of spare wire to put them on. We will eventually put a small building over that. Now the next thing to do, because we're using electro frogs, we need to connect the wire coming from the frog to a micro switch. We need to fit a micro switch onto the point motor. This is just simply glued on the top. This is so we can switch the polarity of the frog with a purple wire underneath. A little bit of flux on the wire. This is called tinning the piece of the wire. And now we solder it to the tap. Let's put that on. That will go to the frog underneath. Now we have a black wire and a red wire to fit to the other two. This will feed from the rails. Now we thread those wires through the hole in the baseboard so we can connect up underneath. As I said before, leave a bit of spare wire in case it breaks off. And that's it. Now we do all the connections underneath.
Okay, so when you're building your first model railway, you're going to need to start thinking about model architecture. And David joins us from the club now, who is going to talk us through a few things about model architecture because, well, you know a few things about building card kits, don't you?
No, but I do. Yes, it's the first one I've done for 10 years, so it just shows you. I put that one together in about 2.5 hours. Of course, I put about an hour and 10 minutes, which is not bad for the first.
So these are from the Metcalfe range of buildings, aren't they?
Yeah, and then you can get them in different brick
widely,
or stone or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is part of the Settle and Carlisle range from Metcalfe, widely available at your model railway shop. So David, take it away. You've got a bit of a demonstration going on there.
Okay, right. When you first own one of these kits, it looks a little bit daunting. Even to me, who haven't done one for 10 years, it looks a little bit daunting. But once you follow the instructions, it's quite simple, really. It's just a matter of plodding on. So what I've done now is I've gone a little bit out of sequence just to show you how this is done. So first, you press all your out of the grey board. Now the best thing to do is to look at the plans and number them, because that makes the job a lot easier. If you've got all the numbers in, just pick them up and you know what you're doing. So first of all, we've got to stick these together. I use Yoo-hoo for this because it sticks better, and then we just plonk that onto there like so. The windows you'll get in sections. The windows what you cut out, and the frames. So you look for the matching numbers and you finish up with a window with a frame, which then you stick onto one of these sections. That section then is glued to the back of this, and then we put the windows at the back. Now the next section is that's dry, we put that onto there and we glue that to there. So a bit of Yoo-hoo, and the next thing we'd put on a gable end, and then we build another piece on that end. But as I say, it's all in the plans, it's so simple to do. I started, like everybody else, doing Metcalfe kits. And then I realised that I could do maybe bigger and better things. So that's when and then it's my specialist thing.
The three wires here, yellow, grey and green, which we threaded through, are these here. We soldered them onto a switch, the yellow and the grey to the outer ones, the green to a feed wire, which comes from the 16 volt AC output from the controller. The green wire goes to all the points on the layout, and the grey wire from the controller comes to the middle terminal of the switch. And now if we do the switch, you'll see that the point moves over away. So we'll put the switch up through the baseboard. Now, so the switch is the right way round. If it wasn't, all you have to do is turn the switch back. It comes the other way. So that's how we work the point motor. The red and the black wires from here will combine with the red and black wires that we put to the track, and these will be the feed that comes out of the controller to operate the trains. The purple wire from here, from the micro switch, we've now fed up to there and soldered it onto the wire that connects to the frog. So now this will change the polarity of the frog. A lot of people have a complete mind blank when it comes to wiring. So if what we've done can help them, and at the show we can demonstrate it again and show them one-to-one basically what to do.
And also at the show we will be doing exactly the same again with the help of the Sleaford Club, and we're going to be making another set of baseboards, join them all together and completing a full layout which will be donated to a children's charity.
Now that construction has been completed, we've built the baseboards, we've laid the track, ballasted it and put the electrics onto it and tested it as it is. The proof of the pudding is now we must have to run a locomotive. We've coupled it up to a controller. We're going to try and make it work. Now it does work insofar as the locomotive is going away from me, but the controller shows the locomotive should be coming towards me, which means the wires in from the back of the control panel are the wrong way round. Having changed the two wires over at the back of the controller, we now set the controller to make the train go from the left to the right, and lo and behold we have the left to the right. It will run to the end of the track where the points will be changed, and we return hopefully to the beginning, and we have tested, it's all running. School children nowadays just learn everything from a book or from the screen in front of them. They don't interact, they don't talk to each other unless they're walking either side of a road and they've got their ears onto a phone. So we don't have phones and things like that in the railway world, in the model railway world. So you have to stand and talk to the person next to you, and that communication skill to start with, and then of course the hand skills. They're not taught any hand skills anymore, and if we're going to continue in this country and make things for ourselves, we need people who have hand skills.
Yeah. My dad said once to me, in this world somebody's got to pick some tools up, and that's exactly what you do in model railways. We can't all be gaffers.
So there we go, a beginner's guide to building your very first model railway, courtesy of the guys here at Market Deeping's Model Railway Club. And I'd like to thank you all for coming along and helping us out in the studio on this one, so much appreciated. But if you're after more experience, more advice, and you've got some questions that are still unanswered, come along to the National Festival of Railway Modelling this December at Peterborough Showground, the 7th and 8th. We'll see you there. The guys from Market Deeping's Model Railway Club will be in attendance as well with this layout, demonstrating the other half of its construction as well, and there'll be a whole host of other things happening on the stand. It's an event not to be missed. Anyway, we'll see you there, as will these guys, and until next month's DVD, from all of us here in the studio, happy modelling. See the Market Deeping team build this layout at the National Festival of Railway Modelling, Peterborough, on December 7th and 8th, 2019. Visit modelrailwayshows.co.uk for more information.